Just 2 weeks behind Knox Johnson, he continued eastwards for another lap of the Southern Ocean to save my soul, as he put it. This is the real solo race, sailing like it's 1968.
Forcément, tous les gens qui reviendront de Golden Globe Race, forcément, il faut s'attendre à ce qu'ils aient changé.
It's a great story and it's the 50th anniversary, and it's a great opportunity to relive the original solo sailing when technology wasn't available, where we're just using sextants and wind-up clocks to find your position. And it's really the story of humanity and human endeavour in the extreme. So the world has never seen anything like this event.
Well, g'day everybody. So this is number 8 of our GGR 2022 entrants, and looking forward to that. But before we get there, we'll just remember a couple of things. You can put questions in the comments and we'll get to see them, or Jane will tell me there's a question there and we can hopefully answer them. And a couple of things that just to be aware of. I'll just pop this in. On the 4th of July, it's the Arctic race, which is a feeder for the last trial run for the Vendée Globe boats. They have to, some of them have to qualify, have to complete this to get their final numbers to get in the event, which starts in November the 8th, and it's going to be a bit of fun. This is going to go live. The start will go live. The boats don't go into Les Sables d'Olonne. They're actually assembling from all the various ports, and they stay offshore. They'll be sailing there overnight. They stay offshore, and so that the start is, outside the harbour. But there'll be plenty of boats and spectators out there, and it'll be fun to watch because it's super high tech, of course, and there's some classic boats there that have never faced off against each other, and the start's usually a bit intense, and it'll be fun to watch. So if you do, it's not necessarily going to be live on GGR Facebook. You have to just follow the link on that post. So if you're up for it, that's going to be worth watching. The other thing is, of course, this is a big deal here tomorrow. Same time, same place tomorrow. We've got some of the 18 entrants coming up. So Ari's going to be there, Abolish is going to be there, Tapio's coming, Loic, and a few others as well. Isfan's going to be there, and some of our team will be here. Barry will be here, and so on. So we'll have a bit of fun. But no idea. It's not planned. It's not structured. We're just going to see who pops up. Captain Coconut's there. And so it could be a bit of fun. We can get 4 people on screen and we'll have a good old chat. So that'll be fun. Same time, same place tomorrow. So now I'll just try and find Matthew here. So there's Matthew, and we'll see what he's got to say about his entry in 22. G'day, how are you?
Yeah, good, Tom. How are you?
Oh, I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I'm still in Hobart. Jane managed to do the washing, which is great. So I've got the right T-shirt on today, which is cool. And so where are you? Tell me where you are and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, look, I'm living the life in Adelaide, which is obviously where I'm from. One of 3 entrants from Adelaide. The boat's in Europe, and I just need to come up with a way of connecting the 2 of us. But look, hopefully over the next few months, something will give there. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got another bloody rustler in the UK, and you're hoping to get to the boat. You're like me. I'm in Australia as well, and we've got to get permission to get out. It's a bit classic because the government's actually said no one can leave Australia until October of 2021, and no one's allowed in either. So it's crazy.
So fingers crossed something changes there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But look, I guess the only way to approach it is it's another challenge, isn't it? I think entering the Golden Globe and getting to the start line are both pretty challenging. Doing that from Australia, I think, is a bit harder than Europe. And yeah. I guess this is something none of us predicted that is another challenge to overcome.
Yeah. So tell me about you. What got you into sailing?
Yeah, look, I sort of started sailing a bit as a teenager. My father bought a plywood kit 125 sailing dinghy, and I sailed that a bit. But then he bought a Duncanson 37, so a South Australian design.
Oh, these are good names. Mine was my first cruising boat was Dunk 29.
Yeah, they're a great boat, aren't they?
Yeah.
So Don, that boat, which you might have even built, that sat on our front lawn for about 8 years. Whilst
Which one was that? The
37. Did you build?
Yeah, we worked on some of the early hulls in the late 80s, but not the 37. That was the dream boat. The 34s and the 35s. That was different. But yeah.
So that took my father about 8 years on our front lawn to fit that out, and really that was launched in 1989. I was about 19 then, so that's the boat I've done most of my sailing on, and that boat's still in Adelaide in the family. So
I just put a picture up, so that's it there, right?
That's right.
The 37. The first one I've seen with windows, but anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
So, good boat.
Yeah, lovely boat. Yeah.
So where did you go with that? So what? How that sort of took you into ocean sailing? It was cruising or racing or what?
Yeah, look, most of my background is cruising. I'm fairly late to come to racing, but I think like probably most people that have had that background, it's once you start to do a little bit of racing, you kind of, I think it really improves your sailing. You start to sort of analyse what you're doing a bit more. I haven't done a lot of racing, but I've started to deliberately try and sail with more racing sailors. I think they've always got their eye on what's the most efficient thing to do and the fastest thing to do, and I think I think that improves your sailing definitely. So
yeah, and so what about your profession and family and all that sort of stuff? What's the story there?
Yeah, look, I'm an emergency department doctor, an emergency physician. Done that for a fair while now. That's a job that I love. I still get a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's a job that if I can get to the start line of the Golden Globe, I'll miss. During my 9, 10, 11, 12 months, 7 months around the world, whatever it takes, Don. But that's a fairly busy job, fairly all-consuming job. I've got a partner, Minnie, 3 daughters, so 14, 12, and 7.
Holy dooly. That's going to be interesting. What do they think about what you're doing now?
They're curious. They're all supportive. We've had a few family meetings, Don, and everyone's sort of okay with this, and I think okay with the idea that it's all right to chase dreams in your life.
So how did the dream evolve? When did the idea of was it the Golden Globe first, or was it the idea of a solo circumnavigation, or because Adelaide's been pretty strong and Australia's been strong in solo circumnavigation today?
Yeah, look, I think it was that, Don. I've read all of those books, from Robin Lee Graham to Joshua Slocum to Jesse Martin to Jessica Watson to Kay Cotty, and I think there's quite a few Australian names there. And I think that probably when I was sort of early 20s, I got this idea that this is something I'd really like to do one day. Before Minnie and I sort of settled down, we had a sort of a prenup, because we never married, but that one day I was going to kind of disappear and go and sail around the world on my own. And when I brought that up a year or two ago, she professed to have no recollection of that conversation. And I couldn't find the beer coaster, that we'd written it down, at the time. But she's honoured that historical agreement, but which is great. She's a great.
Okay, so when did it trip over into the GGR? Was it as soon as you heard about it, or was it later, or what?
I think for me, Don, that was a little bit of a slow burn because I've the story of the original Golden Globe is a fantastic story, and I'm a member of the Royal South Australian Yacht Squadron, as you have been in the past.
Yeah, 25 years, holy dooly.
And I was a little bit late to hear about the 2018 Golden Globe, but I've been to all of the talks that Captain Coconut, that Mark Sinclair has given down there, and then I really that idea really sort of caught hold of me, and then sort of following him in the race, sort of slowly but surely, I sort of started to wonder if maybe this was kind of pathway to
if there was any one entrant that sort of shows people anyone could do it, it's Captain Coconut, eh? and I think it's had a bearing because I know Michael Davey, and who's also from from Adelaide. Is he in the medical profession as well? He's a medico as well, eh?
Yeah, Michael's a little bit older than me, and but we're in the same line of work. So the identical line of work, which is a funny little coincidence. So.
That's exactly what I thought, because I thought, hang on, am I getting Michael Davey or Matthew Wright mixed up or whatever? But yeah, so you both must have had discussions, and he was first. I think you followed him behind him, so he must have.
This is important, Don. I was first.
Oh, okay, okay.
Well, you'll have Mike on, so he can give you his side of the story. But
yeah,
no, I rang. No, Mike came to one of Mark's talks. I took Mike along, and then look,
you took him along to the talk.
Yeah, because it was at the Yacht Squadron, and he's not a squadron member, so I kind of dragged him there. And then I eventually, I said, oh, by the way, I've entered the Golden Globe race, and there was sort of radio silence there for 12 days or something. And then he sent me a message and said, oh, I have too.
Classic.
Which surprised me. But anyway, that's fantastic.
Oh, and that's really cool.
Mike's boat looks like a great boat. It's a nice boat with a bowsprit. You've got to love a bowsprit. So, and it looks like he's doing a great job. So, of course, Don, Adelaide is unique in this race. We could get first, second, and third.
It's just amazing. I'm still a bit gobsmacked about the whole thing. I'll be over in Adelaide in another couple of weeks. I've got to go there for some meetings and stuff with another event. But I'll be there for a while, so I'll be down the club. So we'll obviously catch up, and hopefully, we can't have any more entrants this time. But we'll see what happens next time.
So that's cool. It'll be great to see you, but hopefully you won't be here for too long, like 5 or 10 years. Waiting to go overseas. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's another story. Anyway, so that's cool. So let's get into these silly questions before we start running out of time. So this is word association, right? So just the first thing that comes to your mind: money,
sailing,
time,
money,
wind vane,
fascinating,
overboard,
man,
mother,
earth,
winner.
No, I'm resisting the urge to say me. But
You're too modest.
Yeah, that sounds like a silly thing to say. But anyway, me. There you go.
Okay, impossible.
Not much.
Holidays.
Sailing.
Adventure.
Yeah, sailing.
Panic.
Sailing.
You got sailing on the brain.
Yeah, a little bit.
Fear.
What was that?
Fear.
Healthy.
Drogue.
Not sure.
Okay. All right, that's cool. So what do you think right now is the biggest thing, that's the biggest challenge you've got, except for getting to the start? Like, let's assume you're going to make the start.
Yeah.
How do you feel personally, just within you? What's the biggest challenge for you personally in the GGR?
Yeah, look, I think the whole thing is such a good project, isn't it, Don? There's different dimensions to it. You need to prepare the person physically and psychologically. You need to get across all of the sailing. You need to turn up there as the best sailor you can be, with the best experience behind you, and a really well-prepared boat. So each one, and actually you need to work out a way to pay for it. There's a small but important detail that my family will need food and shelter while I'm away. I'm thinking of putting them on freeze-dried rations as well, Don. But
making it the same food. I tell you, there's something I forgot, because we'll have people who will be dropping out already on this. I don't know whether you've heard it yet, but Susie did a podcast on her experience in the last GGR. I listened to it today. It went for an hour. It was absolutely incredible. She opened up and really told all about her emotions and what she's thinking and how it affected her at the time and afterwards, and how she reflects and looks back on the whole thing now. It was a real eye-opener. She's an amazing lady, and I think all the 22 entrants will be looking at that. And I know a lot of people that followed her. She didn't say a lot at the time, but but wow, it's really worth looking at. It takes a bit. You got to log on and get into it. But once you're into it, it really shows what's involved. Have you heard it yet?
No, look, I saw that posted today, and I of course I listened to it. And actually, that's why I said not sure about drogues. A drogue. The biggest problem with drogues seems to be getting it back on board or whatever.
Well, it was interesting because that's been a hot topic, and in the end, her final comment on the drogue was she wishes now she'd never even set the thing, because she feels confident that if she had been sailing, if the boat had forward momentum at the same time, she would have got clobbered and probably got damage and stuff. But it may not have been that the same result. But who knows? You can't know. But fascinating to listen to it. Yeah.
And look, I think, to a degree, this next race is in honour of Bernard Matissier, I think, isn't it? And look, am I wrong in saying that his heavy weather strategy was kind of to bear away, sort of sail on an oblique angle to the waves? Was that his strategy?
It was, it was. He was into drogues, and not drogues, into towing warps. But in the end, he even gave up on that principle and kept moving. And there's no right and wrong to the issue, because every situation is different, and there's no right and wrong. But it's just interesting what people think about the various scenarios. But yeah, he was a believer of keep moving.
And it must vary a bit from boat to boat, mustn't it, as well?
Yeah, absolutely, because Robin was a big believer in towing warps. You just get the warps out and hang on, and a little sail, I discussed this with him. I said, Robin, your little sail right up the front of the boat acts like a vane, a wind vane to keep the bow forward. And we discussed it, and I said we should call it a vane sail. And the idea of a vane sail, a little tiny sail right up the front of the boat to keep the bow blowing downwind, combination with the warps, is a really good idea. And anyway, we digress. Questions 1 to 10. Pick a number.
8.
8. What's the most dangerous thing you've ever done?
I think the most dangerous thing I've ever done is I was once the doctor for the armed guerrilla fighters in East Timor, the Falantil guerrilla fighters. And as an older man, I look at that and think, wow, that was it was an interesting thing to do. It was a fascinating experience, but it was, it was potentially really very dangerous. But that turned out okay.
So tell me a bit more. You decided to go there and get on the other side with them, or you weren't sent there by the government?
No, it was sort of at the moment that that they had a referendum, and then after that, sort of the security situation all fell apart. And actually, Jose Ramos Horta had appealed for a doctor to go and base themselves with the Falantil fighters. They'd moved into sort of set camps with their families. So there were lots of kids there, and women and children, and quite a few health problems. So a friend of a friend in Australia sort of connected me to that, and we went to East Timor, and I think I had a press pass or something, and that was a really interesting life experience. But
holy dooly, that's a conversation for later. I look forward to hearing more on that one.
Okay. That was a brave thing to have done at the time.
Yeah, how old were you then?
How old was I then? Late 20s, mid 20s, late 20s. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want to know more, but that's a conversation for later.
I would have been 27 then, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sounds cool. 10 to 20.
14.
Have you always wanted to try?
Yeah. I look, that's my personal sort of mantra. I think every day of my life is just to give it the best shot. And Don, also in the line of work that I do, working in emergency departments, you kind of know what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming to everyone.
and actually, most of us don't really know when it's coming. So I think just live every day to the best of your abilities and with the most passion and love that you can.
That's another conversation for later. Yeah. Okay, 20 to 30.
26.
26. What's the meaning of life? You're the exact person to ask that question.
Look, as someone who in many ways is a loner, I think it's probably love and relationships, isn't it? Yeah. I think it's the what happens along the way and the relationships we all have.
Yeah, too true. Okay.
That's most of meaning and purpose, I think, isn't it?
We're going to have some long conversations later. Anyway, okay, 30 to 40.
38.
38. Would you rather be without eyes or without a mouth?
Yeah, wow. I think yeah, that's a really tough one. I think I'd keep my eyes, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. 40 to 47.
42.
42. What are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about life, which is a bit of a cop out, isn't it? But every day I think there's always good that you can do, and try and make things better instead of being, be part of the solution, not part of the problem. I'm passionate about my family, my relationship with my family, and I'm actually very passionate about my work. I still get a lot of enjoyment out of that, and I'm lucky to have a job where you can, some days it's obvious if you've done something good or to help other people. So
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll take that as a good answer. A to N. A letter A to N.
G.
G. Stranded on an island with plenty of food and water. Okay. What two items would you want to have with you?
Food and water.
Yeah, you've got plenty of food and water. So what other two items do you want, and why?
Yeah, look, I think music and
oh boy, you got a problem. It's cassette tapes, right?
well, wait till you hear the next one. Warm clothes, because I hate the cold, Dom.
Oh yeah. Okay, you'll do okay. All right. Well, at that, we'll bring in a crazy bloody Irishman and see what happens here. He'll pop up in 2 seconds. 1, 2. Here he comes. Patrick. Hello. Can you hear me?
Matthew.
Yeah.
How are you? Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, Pat Lawless, our crazy Irishman. We were just talking about passion and life and death and the meaning of all sorts of things. So, so where are you right now, Pat?
I'm sitting at home, Ballyford or West of Dingle, the Kingdom of Kerry.
Okay, describe your home and where it is. Like as in
my home, the Dingle sticks out, the Dingle Peninsula sticks out into the sea. So I'm the most westerly village in the whole of Europe.
Hang on a minute. That sounds really rude. It sounds really rude when your dingle's sticking out. It's a bit of a problem.
Only if you have a dirty mind.
Okay. So everyone's got to look up dingle on Google now and work out where the dingle hangs out, where it sticks out, So okay.
Yeah.
So, and I see you've been quite busy. I won't talk too much about it because I'm trying to hang on a sec. Oh, there's something going wrong with your picture here. I'm trying to get the picture of your boat. Jeepers, it's jiggling across here and I can't grab it. There it is. Oh, I got it. Rightio. So, so what happened? I'm looking at your boat without a mast.
I did my jury rig the last few days, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was amazed how easy it was. It was really worth doing.
Yeah, it is surprising, eh? A lot of people say the same thing. So,
yeah, it was fantastic. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, okay. So that's cool. All right. I love your boat, by the way. That's a Saga 36. It's a hot boat for the race. So that's cool. And now my favourite bit, Pat. Why are you going to beat Matthew in his Rustler 36 in the GGR?
Well, I looked at rosters.
Sorry.
It's all right, Matthew. You shut up. You're trying to protect your position, but this question is to Pat because I think he might beat you. It's a hot boat.
It's an hot boat. Yeah.
Well, funny, I only want to beat myself. Like if I finish ahead of Matthew and I don't feel satisfied, I did my best, I'd be disappointed. If I finish behind Matthew and I think I did my best, I'll be happy. But I wouldn't buy a rustler because they have a tendency to pitch pole. They're not designed for the Southern Ocean,
Oh, that's bold. That's bold. And I mean, with all due respects to Susie, he's a great sailor. Have you seen listened to Susie's podcast about what happened? You got to listen to it.
No.
Then you'll it might answer some questions. But anyway, okay, you better be quiet now, Pat, because I think you're going to get a bollocking. Matthew, why are you going to beat Patrick?
Well, look. Hopefully, I'll beat him. But actually, I'd be the first to agree. It's a really lovely looking boat, Pat. It's a boat I've never seen in person. I don't know. I think this is actually the most. I think the 2022 Golden Globe is perfectly set up. Obviously, in the last race, the Rustlers came first, second, and third. But there are some designs and there are boats in the next race which weren't in the last one. For people who haven't followed it that closely, and it'll be really interesting to see how Pat's boat goes, how the Cape Dory 36 goes, how the Bob Perry, Toshiba, Barber, whatever they're called, how they go, and the Biscay 36 sloops. It's set up beautifully, Dom, to be a really good event.
Don't forget the OE32. I mean, RA was flying in the last race. It was a real surprise. Until you look at the numbers on the boat, when you look at sail area displacement and so on, the OE32 is quite a surprise. It really stacks up well, and it's back in the race.
And Ari held some round something or other record in that boat, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, I forget, but he certainly was flying. You know, it was really, quite cool. Yeah, we look forward to that, having a proper race. We always felt disappointed that we lost so many so quickly, and so we didn't have that sort of intense sort of comparisons and drive and so on. So that's cool. Anyway, so Matthew? What's your biggest fear about doing the race? You know, let's assume the race is underway. This is you personally again. What's your biggest fear?
Yeah, look, I think there are some things you can control, but obviously there are things out there in the Southern Ocean that you don't have any, or you have very little control over. You know, the weather and stuff like that. And it's a long race. You know, stuff on your boat can break in the middle of nowhere in the worst possible place at the worst possible time. So I think I have a healthy fear for that. And look, some people, you know, wouldn't do this around that exact fear, would they? Most people probably wouldn't. But
too true.
I'm happy to give it a go. So
yeah, I forgot to mention there's a few in the news. Simon Kerwin actually launched his boat today. He's going sailing out of Lorient. He's got he's got a Biscay 36, and so he's sailing for a bit of summer, and then he pulls the boat out to do the refit over winter. And also Daniel Gapp put his boat in a mooring out the front of his house, but he's getting just about when summer's over, he goes into his full refit. Everyone's been mucked up by the pandemic. Pat, what's your sailing program now? You put your mast back in today or something?
Yeah, I was under pressure this morning. My mast is back up, and I spend a week tuning it up. I have new inner forestay and two around the back stays. I have to put the stay locks on and tune it up. So then I go sailing. Myself and some friends will go sailing first, and then I'll do a trip down around the Azores and back.
Yeah, okay. So what the luck of the Irish will be there for sure. But what's the most fun thing for you about Pat, about doing the Golden Globe? The most fun thing, you know, like this is cool. You know, what's that about for you right now?
Well, I think meeting all the fantastic sailors, you know, it's kind of an honor for me to meet all these really good sailors. That's the nice. It's a new family, new friends. New friends are always nice to meet, and that's so. I think that's the most enjoyable part is the people I get to know and meet and that.
Okay, and what about you, Matthew? What's the fun part for you right now? You know, where's the pleasure coming from?
Yeah, I don't know. I've got to be careful with that because I've been working sort of flat out to try and put some money away, and it's kind of where the project's at, I guess. And you know, this is going to change my relationship with sailing. Sailing was a purely pleasurable activity before, and I hope it stays that way. You know, I love sailing, so I think it will. But there's a bit of work involved in this project too, I think. So,
yeah. Are you hoping to? So are you hoping to find sponsors, or are you going to go as Corinthian, or?
Yeah, look, I think like most entrants, I'm hoping to find sponsors. it's maybe a challenging environment right now, but you never know next year, do you? So so I think that's when that effort will become more focused.
Yeah. And what about your sailing program? Obviously the pandemic's stuffed up everything this year. But what's the program in 2 years? It'll be 2 years out. You've got 2 years left to go. What's the general overview for you between now and the start?
Yeah, look, I think that'll become. I did have a plan going back about 6 weeks to, in fact, maybe even try and do the Ausstar race next year, or in the 2-star division. I think that's a great plan to set me up for the Golden Globe race with sailing experience, offshore experience. But I guess that's all up in the air at the moment. If I can't get to Europe and I'm struggling with that, and I would need to do a qualifying trip on the boat and stuff. So look, I guess that probably means it's sailing it may be more likely to mean the next 6 months is sailing in Australian waters.
Yeah. Okay. James wandering around. Is there a question? Gurav's got another bloody question. God, he's getting like a rustler. John Clark, Mike and Gay Lewis, great to see you. They're cruising fan, been around Cape Horn and so on. They're from Adelaide as well. Mike Phillips is there. Gurav, first, second, and third into Adelaide. Oh, yeah, right. Guy, I had to move my boat to a mooring buoy over the weekend. I'm really going to miss the boat slip. Okay, so Guy de Boer's on. I thought he was actually sailing out because the weather was going to turn. It looks like he might not be sailing quite yet. Question from Gurav for Matthew. What's the best advice you've gotten going into the GGR, Matthew? What's the best advice you've been given so far going in?
I don't know, actually. The most common advice is don't. But the best advice,
right?
I don't know. A lot of people seem fairly quiet when I tell them about it, but I think that's a sign of their support. I don't know. I think that I think it was Uku or someone said that they thought the hardest thing was the decision to enter. And actually, after that, it kind of, fingers crossed, things fall into place, and you find a way to get to the start line and sail.
Yeah.
And I think there might be something to that. Or I'm hoping there's something to that.
Yeah. Okay. And Pat, what's the best advice you've been given so far? Pat, can you hear me?
Don't do it. Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, well,
yeah, I think it was Gorav that told us both that, wasn't it, Pat? I think Gorav told both of us not to do it.
Okay. Yeah. So what's your biggest problem now, Pat? Like, what's your biggest regret or your biggest problem right now?
Interesting. I don't really have problems at the moment. It's time is slipping by, trying to do everything. Family, work,
Yeah.
But the boat is eating. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's enough for you, Pat. I'm gonna tell you to bugger off now because we're on next week, so we'll have a good old chat and we'll see where we end up. I'm looking forward to hearing a bit more about Dingle, whether it's hanging out or tucked away. So thank you, Pat. Good to see you, and we'll see you in exactly a week. Okay.
Yeah. See you next week. Bye.
Okay. See you. Okay. So Matthew, what's right now? What's your prospects of getting to your boat? Have you given up, or you're still going to give it a play? And who's going to do the refit? Like, you're over in England, so where's that going to happen?
No, the boat's in France. So
France. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, that's right. Yeah.
My brother lives in France, so the boat is close to where he lives, and it's due to come out of the water on July the 8th. So we'll put it on a hard stand. And look, then hopefully just start working through a list of jobs on it, basically.
Yeah.
And I guess it kind of, with the travel, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But hopefully where there's a will, there's a way, and hopefully an opportunity will open up there. So
yeah, cool. I was getting your boat mixed up with Edward. He's our Canadian Master Mariner guy. The other guy. He's got another bloody Rustler, which is in with Rustler Yachts in Falmouth now, getting the refit done. Now, he's powering. He's got a brand new mast. I think you know the story. He's copying Jean-Luc. Brand new Sparcraft mast, brand new sales from Les Abdelone, same as Jean-Luc, and from Valerie sales and stuff. And anyway, so he's using them. So do you think you've got a lot of work to do on the boat? What sort of conditions the boat in?
The boat's in okay condition. It's like its owner. It's a slightly faded beauty, but it has great potential. I think the limiting thing with how much work I get done on it is finance, really. There's some big decisions I need to make along there. In terms of mast, do I replace the mast and stuff like that? But there's a list of things that are essential that I have to do, and there's a list of things I'd like to do. So I'll just have to work through them in that order, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so do you feel intimidated by being in a Rustler? You've got a lot to uphold now because Mark Slats was there roaring around in his, and Jean-Luc. You've got a benchmark now to keep up with.
Yeah, there is that way of looking at it, isn't there? If you buy a competitive boat and you're not competitive in the race, it's fairly obvious, isn't it, what's going on there? I mean, actually, Don, in buying that boat, doing the race from Australia is difficult and challenging because there are very few of these boats in Australia or available. And if you find one in Australia, then that's great, but you need to get it to the start of the race, which is a long way away. But obviously, I've now got the reverse problem that I own a boat in Europe, which is close to the start, but I'm struggling to get there. So you've got to have to be careful what you wish for. But of all the different boats I looked at, in fact, as soon as I saw this boat, I just kind of there was something about it that I really liked, and I was happy to own it. And I could see that it was probably a well set out boat to sail on your own offshore. So
yeah, too true. Yeah, if it feels right, that's important. I know when I ended up with a Tradewind 35, I love those boats. They're great. No idea how they go in the race. This one did okay, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you just know when it feels right, and that's important. Okay, last comment. Anything you want to say before I kick you off?
No, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Okay, so we've got some big conversations later. I think, any more secrets? Have you got any more secrets besides Timor and your life-saving academic career and all that sort of stuff? Anything else you should be telling us before we find out?
There's a few other things there, but
okay, we'll leave the mystery.
I'll drip feed, yeah.
Yeah, drip feed. Yeah, good idea. Okay, all right. Well, good to chat, and I'll see you in a few weeks. I'll be over there. So with Captain Coconut, what a worry. Jesus. We'll have to get together and have a session. But anyway, okay, that's great, Matthew. Thanks for that. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Okay. See you later. Okay, so that's really about it. So we'll look forward to seeing some of you tomorrow when we speak to some of the 22 entrants. And thanks for listening in. It's Robin Davies' birthday. Jane just yelled out, "Happy birthday, Robin!" Another old fella. So we'll see you tomorrow.